It's no secret that the PS4 and PS4 Pro are both entering the end of their life cycles on the marketplace as current generation platforms, and there is a lot of potential for Sony to really wow players with the next generation and launch of PlayStation 5. I've already talked in a previous video about the likelihood and possibility of an AMD Ryzen and Navi powered PlayStation 5, but since a new team of executives are leading the team at SIE, I'd like to think that Sony is at least considering the possibility to try something new and/or experimental with the next generation of PlayStation, rather than just playing it safe and making a more powerful dedicated set-top box. The PS4 Pro and PS4 are both based on mobile AMD chipsets, primarily designed for laptops and tablets. But as technology gets more powerful and evolves, the existing technology that's available shrinks, allowing for greater accessibility across a wider variety of devices and applications. Meaning that, in theory, a portable system rivaling the PS4's processing power or a system on a chip may very well be possible in the close future to launch alongside or shortly after PlayStation 5, but as a portable PS5 that would allow this system to play the same games that the PS5 does, but downscaled to a portable with a 720 or even 1080p screen. The premise is relatively simple. A portable PS5 would be available in all global markets and would play all the same games and operate on the same OS that the PS5 does, but at the expense of 4K and other improved graphical enhancements that a dedicated set-top box can offer, but that the handheld obviously can't. However, despite the graphical downgrade, the handheld would be able to communicate with other handhelds and would remain interconnected to the PlayStation network and would still be able to easily communicate with the home console model itself, and offers the same experience but scaled down for on-the-go play. Believe it or not, Sony has actually tried this in the past, though it was fragmented and never fully utilized. When Sony launched the PlayStation Vita in 2011, they did a lot of things wrong, but they did do several things right, and several of which were very forward-thinking for their time, and would hopefully be re-implemented in this new generation or upcoming generation of PlayStation systems, but fully utilized and streamlined. This hypothetical family of PS5 systems would support several Sony standards, one of which would be cross-buy, the ability for those who own both the home console and the handheld. They should be able to buy the home console game on disc and receive a download code for the portable version as an included free digital download. On top of that, consumers would have the options to either just buy the home console version on disc by itself, or buy the portable version on cartridge for the handheld individually, meaning the consumers have options. They would also support cross-save, the ability for players to move save files of the same games from the home console to the handheld and back and forth at a whim with ease. That way, these two separate systems once again feel like one system offering the same experience. Perhaps the biggest and most important feature that Sony implemented many years back and would have to re-implement in this PS5 family of systems is crossplay, including chat. If Sony could find a way to make a portable system powerful enough to bring popular AAA games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Destiny, Overwatch, and many other online-focused games to on-the-go play with ease of connectivity and interactions with fellow home consoles, I can certainly see this portable moving enough units to justify the resources and expenses related to porting the games. The idea here is one that's relatively simple, and I'm sure that many of you will appreciate. It's the basic premise that consumers have options, because not everyone wants a dedicated home console, but on the flip side, not everyone in the world will want a portable as their only option to experience PlayStation's exclusives, in addition to all the popular third-party multi-platform titles that are available. Some people want the latest hardware with the best graphics available, while others are willing to sacrifice graphics for the ability to play the latest releases wherever they are. Unfortunately, at this time, we cannot have both in one device. You either have great graphics or portability. However, the option of having two separate devices that basically offer the same experience, you as a consumer will have two ways to enter the PlayStation ecosystem via PlayStation Network instead of just one. It's worth mentioning that with these options, there will be people that pick one of the two devices. However, we'll inevitably see a crossover of people who end up picking up both devices for the best of both worlds, meaning the best graphics and the ability to play their games wherever they are. Now, I can already hear people asking, what about Nintendo Switch? While the Switch is without a doubt in my mind a fine piece of hardware, offering a fantastic experience for those of you who love Nintendo's IPs, there are two issues already. One, there is already a pressing issue when it comes to third-party developers, as it's lacking many of the latest AAA releases, and instead has ports of games that are now several years old and were popular during the 7th generation of home consoles. Since it has to act as both a handheld and a home console, it is exceptionally limited in terms of processing power and graphical capabilities, both of which are the reasons why we aren't seeing the latest AAA games released on the platform. The second is that Nintendo Switch is tied to the Nintendo Network, and for those of us who are deeply invested in other platforms like the PlayStation Network, it may not even be an option to begin investing in other ecosystems. Thus, sticking to where we're already invested in deeply is the best course of action. Basically, what I'm getting at is, Nintendo Switch offers a fantastic experience for those of us who are interested in Nintendo's experience. It may not exactly be what some of us are looking for, as many of us may be interested in PlayStation's exclusives that are obviously not available on Nintendo Switch. I'm sure some of you are thinking of this question, as I already mentioned it about the Switch's own processing power. What if this powerful PlayStation handheld still isn't powerful enough to run all of the third-party multi-platform AAA games? With the presence of two machines that could communicate with each other back and forth seamlessly, a feature like Remote Play could theoretically make a return, and could take over so long as the handheld has access to Wi-Fi, 4G LTE, and/or upcoming 5G networks. In addition, since this handheld will more than likely have a full set of buttons like what you've come to expect on DualShock, Remote Play wouldn't require the same learning curve that it does on PS Vita and PS4, meaning it wouldn't require additional resources to reprogram special button mapping configurations. And this doesn't even include the possibility of PlayStation Now becoming more affordable and streamlined as a plausible option for players for a PlayStation handheld. The fact of the matter remains is that Nintendo Switch is tied to a completely different ecosystem that is not connected to PlayStation Network in any way, shape, or form. And for those of us who are looking for a PlayStation handheld, the Switch still isn't exactly what some of us are looking for. If you're financially invested in PSN across multiple generations of home consoles and portables, it just makes sense to remain where you're at, so long as there's a good enough reason to stay there. For others, abandoning their investments and trophies and achievements for an entirely new ecosystem just isn't plausible, which is why it's a good idea to have multiple options and ways to access PlayStation's exclusive games, whenever, wherever, forever. Of course, this is all hypothetical, and for all I know, Sony could just launch another dedicated set-top box and be done with it. But this idea was formulated based on Sony's own history and some of the statements that SIE's new CEO John Kodera has made himself. But what do you guys think? Would you want to see another portable coexist alongside the eventual launch in PlayStation 5 between 2020 and 2021? Let me read your thoughts down below, as I love reading them. And until next time, this is Tristan signing off. Take care. I'd like to thank my two supporters on Patreon, @Reef on Bronze Tier and Patrick on Silver Tier. If you'd like to join these people in the end credits of my videos, click on the Patreon link down there in the description section. Also down there you'll find the link to my official Teesprings campaign for TnVGaming related t-shirts. They're relatively simple and are available in mostly grays, blues, and blacks, but hopefully you'll like them anyway. I know I've already ordered mine, and hopefully you'll check them out.